Hey, everybody. We are back again to Austin Sports Weekend with my man Austin right here himself. We are starting our brand new show this week.
Sports this week.
We are going to cover sports this week. We're going to cover
It's multiple sport
it's
topics.
there's a lot of different sports going on this time of the year throughout the summer. Hard to cover everything, so we're just going to cover highlights, coaching moves, the big news that's going on
Let
at
us
the
start
time.
off.
We do have to start off covering the two NFL championship games.
One of them was just I'll talk about it later.
No, well, first of all, we do want to thank SevereTV.com for setting us up right here. We thank Autographs Plus for sponsoring us. They got a couple stores, one in Pigeon Forge, one in Sevierville, so be sure and check them out. Got some Valentine's money to spend, but we do need to jump into the
Spend
NFL.
time with your loved ones on Valentine's Day.
Hug somebody.
We all need
Need
it.
to hug somebody. At this point,
We all need
we
it.
all need to hug somebody. Well, let's jump into here. We got the Chiefs at the Ravens. Road Warriors,
This was as painful a home loss.
as you can have. Yeah.
You have home field.
Mm-hmm.
You have the best record in football.
You have the best defense in football.
You have
Statistic wise, they have the best defense.
probably the best, one of the best rosters in football.
The roster was loaded. Yeah.
John Harbaugh is the head coach. You know,
You got a good coach. You're at
And
home.
you got
You got a
Justin
loaded
Tucker, You
team.
got Lamar Jackson. You got an elite defense,
You got a good
and-
running game.
and you completely crap the bed
And
at
you
home.
score 10 points.
That was their fault.
Spags, man. How about the job Spagnola has done on the road here in the playoffs?
Well, the defense has definitely played up to par. Let me tell
The
you that
Chiefs'
much.
defense, I know last year and the year before that,
It was mediocre.
it was the offense. I mean, the Chiefs were scoring 35 points and you were scoring 34. I mean, and if they needed it, they'd score in 13 seconds against you. That it was an off. This year, their offensive coordinators have been subpar.
And
I mean, both of them, any of them that they've had in there, their offense, and again in this game they scored 17 points, but they won. They're winning because their defense is giving up 10 points, 12 points, 13 points. Their defense is phenomenal.
that defense has helped get the Chiefs to yet another Super Bowl
How
appearance.
how many in a row AFC Championship games did they make?
6.
6 straight
This is
AFC
their fourth
Championship
Super
games.
Bowl appearance out of those 6
fourth,
years.
Fourth Super Bowl appearance in 6 years. And Mahomes is 28, and he's in his fourth Super Bowl. He's only 28. You know, it seems like we've been watching Mahomes for 10, 15 years. No, he's 28.
He's in his prime.
He's
though.
in his prime. He can play for 10 more years. He can play till he's 38. Tom played till he's 40 something.
Yeah, that's just absolutely insane.
So we've
to
got
think about this.
We've got 10 more years of Mahomes being in his prime.
He's just dominating this era, I think. In
For
terms of,
now, I'm still in the big belief that Brady and Manning are the two best quarterbacks that I've ever seen play in my entire life.
Brady and Peyton, rivalry
I still
was
think
just
they're up here. And until Mahomes gets
to that
fif-
Manning Brady level.
15, 20 years into the league, I can't put him up there with him. But as a 28-year-old,
Going to 4 Super Bowls.
he's the best 28-year-old quarterback that I've seen.
That's a huge statement. We're talking about a quarterback era with Peyton Manning, Joe Montana, Tom Brady's, and we're talking about Troy Aikmans and the Terry Bradshaws in the past.
Yeah.
And you got Patrick Mahomes potentially ending his career up there.
Yeah, I think Mahomes will end up his career up there, unless there's a major injury. You know, we've had a lot of fantastic quarterbacks like RG3 and stuff. You get a bad knee or something, and then you just can't play at the same level that you did.
Mahomes hasn't had many of
Mahomes
those
hasn't
injuries.
had those injuries. He hasn't had an injury in the second game of the year that takes him out the entire rest of the year.
We also need to point out one
we have to wait and
contributor.
see if that happens.
One key contributor is always Andy Reid. I don't think I give him enough credit for what his coaching.
Andy Reid is talking about maybe retiring. There's rumors of Andy Reid retiring. If they win the Super Bowl, it may happen. Now, Mahomes without Andy Reid would be interesting. Imagine if Bill Belichick would have left Tom Brady halfway through his career. What would have happened? I mean, we don't know.
No, but we can always think about it.
Yeah, so that might be a big challenge for Mahomes too, is losing the chief there. But congratulations to the Chiefs, man. Road Warriors, dude. They are going into the Super Bowl.
Despite the nag pointing out 62 yards of total offense, by the way. Thank you, Matt Nagy, for contributing.
Their offensive coordinator is terrible. He is abysmal. I don't know how, the reason they've got this. The defense is what's got them this way. But let's jump into the second game. We had the Lions at the 49ers.
This one is painful.
This was a painful. I got a soft spot for the Lions because how many times have they been to the Super Bowl?
0 times.
They've never been there before, so you got a little soft spot.
They got
You
off
want
to a
the
hot
underdog,
start.
and you're up 24-7 at halftime.
And after that point, they just couldn't close the deal.
No,
And I could tell that Dan Campbell and company were inexperienced
you
and
could
too
tell
young.
they were a little bit aggressive in situations they shouldn't be, and did some. I'm a big person on there's a game is made out of 50 plays. It's not made out of one play. You're not going to win one play. You're not going to lose one play. The Lions lost this game on one play because momentum is huge when it comes to playoff games. Whoever has the momentum, 28-3, wins. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter how much you're up. It's by it means who's
Also,
got
I
the
think
momentum.
The 49ers also had the experience.
Mhm.
Is what
They
I
didn't
think.
quit. Halftime adjustments, came out firing, knew they could come back. The Lions were up, like I said, 17 points at halftime. They came out, field goal, punt, and then the 49ers went down and kicked a field goal. So now that's a 14-point game. Still a 14-point game, 24-10. The Lions get the ball. They drive back down. They're driving good. They get back down inside the 30, and it's 4th and 2. Now, I'm okay with them going for it on that. I'm not saying that he shouldn't have went for it. I might have went for it. Sometimes you want to go for the jugular. But they had been averaging, I think, 5.6 yards a carrying the ball. 4th and 2, what's the play call you call?
Shotgun.
A shotgun snap pass.
That was on the coordinator,
So,
not on the players.
Not on player. So it goes from 4th and 2. You snap it 5 yards back. Now it's 4th and 7. You do a 2-step drop. Now it's 4th and 9. You're having to get 9 yards to get 4th and 2. I don't understand.
Some people say they blame Dan Campbell for it. I'm not going to put the blame on the head coach. I'm not putting blame on the players because they're just trying to
We have what, an 80%
go for it rate. We should have expected.
He had an 80% go for it rate.
You guys should have expected that.
And he got most of them. But when you turn a 4th and 2 into a 4th and 9,
that's on the offensive coordinator. That's on the play caller.
that was terrible. They lost that. The 49ers got the ball, and from that point on,
it was a runaway freight train.
It was a 21-0 run from that point on.
That's also I know this is a devastating loss. I know, but this team is young though, and every coach and coordinator is coming back, and Dan Campbell's going to be back at it. So we might see Detroit back here once again.
I think so. But it is a little heartbreaking. But we got the Chiefs 49ers. The Chiefs 49ers should be a fantastic Super Bowl game.
Great season, Lions. See you next year. I hope you guys come back.
Again, we got a little soft spot for the Lions. I would love to see them get into a Super Bowl, but we'll just have to see because it's really tough to get to where they were at. Talk about a few NFL coaching moves. We had a few more this week.
The Commanders did hire Dan Quinn as their head coach.
Dan Quinn, the defensive coordinator, for the last 3 or 4 years at Dallas, looked fantastic. This year, his defense was a little
injury beat up,
a little wishy-washy. But he is a defensive genius. Used to be the head coach at one point in time of the Atlanta Falcons. Didn't work out too well there, but came to a defensive coordinator. He was also the defensive coordinator for the Legion
of Boom.
He was the Legion of Boom defensive coordinator when it was really big up in Seattle too. So he's a really good defensive-minded coach.
Do you think the Commanders will be better right now on defense with Dan Quinn?
They'll definitely be better on defense with Dan Quinn coming in. So we'll just have to sort of see how the rest of the team goes. I think they're keeping Bieniemy, aren't they? From what I understand, I think they are. I think Bieniemy's staying. Now I could be wrong, but you'd be crazy to get rid of him. If you got Dan Quinn handling the defense, Ben-Ami on the offense, the Commanders should be an improved team next year. I'm not saying they're going to the playoffs, but they should be better than what they were
this year.
They were bad this year. This should be what they were. And also, Seattle picked up their
new head coach, Mike Macdonald.
Mike Macdonald.
We're not talking about the restaurant.
No,
but,
we're not talking about, and we're not talking about the classic rock singer.
He's the youngest head coach in the NFL.
They went from what, a 72-year-old head coach to a
36. They cut it in half.
Cut the age in half. I thought that was just funny. Went from 72. Now they can have two coaches at 70. Take a 36 and a 36.
The thing is though, Mike Macdonald did coordinate the crap. He coordinated the butthole out of that Ravens defense this year.
Yes, he was the Ravens defensive coordinator.
Led the NFL in points per game.
Fantastic. Led the So the Legion of Boone might be coming back to Seattle. Trouble is they need some offense. The offense was what was struggling a little bit
at the end of the year.
Mike McConnell, your man. Mike McConnell was the one who brought Geno Smith back to life, and then he went to Tampa Bay and brought
Dave Canales.
Canales, and then brought Mayfield back to life, and now he is the head coach
of the Panthers.
Anything
would be better than whatever the crap.
And you also have the
year.
GM from Seattle. So
anything would be better than what happened last year. Let me tell you that much.
Mm-hmm.
Last year was torture.
So they basically took the GM from Seattle, the quarterback coach, and the wide receiver coach, and brought them all to Carolina. And we hope that they can turn around your offense a little bit. So that'll be pretty good.
Now let's move on to discuss another topic that we find very interesting.
Yeah, college basketball. We do love us some college basketball. And there's a few good games this weekend that we want to talk about. We've had a few. Last Wednesday and Thursday, we had three upsets. We had Tennessee losing to South Carolina. Rank the team. Please rank South Carolina. South Carolina should have been ranked for 6 weeks.
Yeah, they're 18-3. Why are they not?
They
even
have
in the
looked
polls?
good for almost 2 months
years.
now. They
all
have
years.
they've looked good, and I don't know why you can't do the eye test and say they're pretty good.
They beat Kentucky.
They beat Kentucky
in
and they
3
beat
games.
Yeah, in 3 games they beat 2 top 6 teams.
And they're playing like a top 20, top 15 team right now. They're
so
playing great.
So please rank South Carolina. But other than that, we had North Carolina go down to Georgia Tech, which was a sort of a bad loss. Georgia Tech is an 11-loss team.
And they're not even close into the tournament race.
No, but we've had a lot of upsets this year, haven't we? We've had a lot of number 2s, number 3s. Last night, number 2 Purdue should have lost, but they went into overtime
and knocked off Northwestern.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then last night Kentucky lost
to Florida, their rival,
in overtime. It was a 3-point game in overtime. So we've had a lot of upsets, a lot of ups, a lot of downs, which honestly makes it fun.
Very interesting.
It makes it really interesting. UConn's really, really strong.
Tennessee has had a strong year despite some speed bumps.
Purdue's really, really strong. North Carolina's really, really strong. Houston's really, really strong. And Tennessee's really, really strong. Those are really your top 5 teams that are sort of pushing it right now.
Kentucky's got a good offensive team, but they've struggles on defense has kind of hurt them a little bit.
Yeah, they brought in their new 7-footer. I think they actually started him last night, and he almost had a triple-double his first start there. So I think they got a good future with him. After another game or 2, he should be phenomenal also.
Now, I've got one topic to talk about here on the side note.
Yeah.
Is Dalton Connect, do you think he has enough help around him now?
I think he's got enough help. I think after he got his, 5th game in a row that he had scored 28 or more points, I think that there was a little starstruckness on the rest of the team, on the announcers, on the media, and Tennessee got caught watching him play.
They need to play with him instead of staring at his play.
Think about it. Tennessee scored 59 points against South Carolina. Dalton Connect scored 31 of them. He scored 31. The rest of the team scored 28.
I'd also like to – that really brings across the point that they need to help them out too a little
Yeah,
bit.
I think I was watching a game, and I'm not going to call out any certain players, but there was a player that is normally a pretty good 3-point shooter and caught the ball in the corner and had an opening but didn't take the shot, and the announcer even said, "Oh, well, he normally takes that shot." So I think there was some tentativeness. There was maybe some people trying to feed Connect to get him as many points as they could, and there wasn't the rhythm and the flow. Now I'm not taking away from South Carolina.
The defense.
They should have been ranked 6 weeks ago. South Carolina is a excellent team. They are a tournament team. Their defense,
Underrated.
they're underrated. Their defense is top notch.
Rank
defense.
the Gamecocks.
Rank them.
Give them
But
respect.
but still though, Tennessee I think got caught watching a little bit. Now again, losses like that are not bad losses, as long as it's not a tier 2, tier 3 team, and you just blow it. So you can take a game like that and you can learn from it. I think Tennessee's still ranked as a 2 seed going into the tournament, so they can take that. And the reason we mention those two teams is this Saturday we got
Kentucky and
Tennessee at Kentucky. It's going to be a good game. We got Tennessee at Kentucky.
Do you know what? I've went to both arenas.
Mm-hmm.
I've went to Thompson Bowling, and I've actually been to Rupp Arena. Both stadiums are a cathedral of
They're
basketball.
beautiful. It's beautiful. I love, you know me. I love rivalries. I don't hate teams. I love rivalries. I love that Tennessee and Kentucky play. I want that game every year. In Tennessee football, I want to play Alabama every year. I want to play Georgia every year. I don't want to lose the rivalry, and I want Tennessee to play Kentucky in basketball because I love the sport. I love the pageantry. I love it. It's just beautiful to watch the games, and but now both of these teams are coming off a loss. Number 5 Tennessee against number 10 Kentucky. Whoever loses this game is on a 2-game losing streak. Ooh.
That's going to be a little.
That's a little itchy now. You know, if Tennessee and Kentucky would have won both their games, then it wouldn't
have really had as many stakes.
It would have meant as much now. But now you're going to be on a 2-game losing streak after this Saturday.
And the SEC is no joke of a conference this year.
No, it's no joke of conference. They're going to be 7, maybe 8 teams make it into the tourney from the SEC.
Florida might have Florida and Mississippi State and Ole Miss. And
South Carolina's in
South
now. There's no
Carolina,
doubt about
no
that.
doubt about that right now.
Yeah.
Possibly Georgia.
And now you got Auburn and Kentucky and Tennessee. Definitely. Alabama. It's
a tough conference.
It's a tough conference. But I'm really looking forward to that Tennessee Kentucky game. There's not a line out on it, but the strength meter, as we call it, the matchup predictor has Tennessee as a 58-42 favorite. Of course, I'm not going to pick against Tennessee. I'm going to pick Tennessee because I like Tennessee. Yeah. Just another quick couple games. We got some huge games. We got Houston, Kansas.
That's going to be a good one.
Kansas has lost 2 out of their last 3 games.
Houston's defense
they
is the
need
best
this.
in the NCAA.
Yeah, Kansas needs this, or they're going to drop out of the top 10. And that's something saying big from the first of this year. It is at Kansas, but Houston's like a 75% power matchup predictor, so it's going to be tough. Kansas is struggling a little bit lately. We got another really good matchup. We got the matchup in the ACC. Who is the matchup?
Duke and North Carolina.
Duke, North Carolina.
If you want a classic rivalry game, Duke and Carolina.
Duke, Carolina.
It's as close as you're probably gonna get.
It doesn't matter if the teams are number 1 and number 2 or number 17 and number 18. It's Duke, Carolina.
Stakes are high.
It's Duke, Carolina, man. Carolina's got the edge on this one, 67-33 on the predictor. And honestly, North Carolina coming off of a loss at home.
Facing a good Duke team.
I probably lean towards North Carolina just because of that. I'm leaning towards Houston against Kansas because Kansas is wavering a little. When you lose 2 out of 3, there's a problem or two that you
there's cracks in the armor.
You gotta fix. North Carolina losing to a 11-loss Georgia Tech, it's going to be mad.
They're going to be angry.
It's going to be mad. So I'll probably lean a little bit towards the Tar Heels there too. And another top 20 matchup, we've got Iowa State at Baylor. Baylor's been wavering a little bit too.
The Big 12
here
is
lately.
also pretty strong.
The Big 12 is probably the strongest, to be honest. They might have 10 teams in the tournament.
NCAA tournament,
in the NCAA tournament. And I'm leaning towards Baylor in that matchup too. against Iowa State. It's a 58-42. It's more of a close matchup on that, but again, I like Baylor's talent a little bit more over what Iowa State has. But we love us. That is some good matchups. And then Sunday we got Purdue, Wisconsin.
That's a top 6 matchup.
Number 2 against number 6. Wisconsin sort of surprised us. I mean, they've shot up 15 spots in the last
And this is a
in
team
the last poll or
that
two.
Tennessee beat at Wisconsin earlier in the year.
Yeah, Purdue is a 60-40 favorite over that.
Zach Edey is a juggernaut. Of
I'm
a big
picking
man.
I'm picking the upset. I'm picking Wisconsin. How about them apples?
You're picking whiskey.
I'm picking whiskey. It's the reason is Purdue is lately they've been wavering a little bit. They should have lost their last game. Took overtime to win that one.
Despite the play of their excellent big man down the
Oh
middle.
yeah, Edey. Honestly, it's between Edey and Dalton Connect who gets the Player of the Year this year.
Because you got a big man that's 7'4" and can grab a rebound without barely even jumping off the ground.
Yeah,
He
I
averages
think
25 and 11.
I think Connect has the better NBA future coming because he is just an all around fantastic athlete that can do anything.
And Dalton Connect's
Edey,
scoring numbers
I
are
don't
ridiculous.
think Edey's ever made a 3-pointer, ever in his entire collegiate career. So he's really good at being big.
I kind of
Which-
like the change of traditional
I
big
do.
man.
I do. I miss the Shaqs and the Patrick Ewings and the Hakeem Olajuwons. Yeah, I miss no. I miss that stuff. So it is good to have a big man
Zach
back in
Edey
again.
kind of reminds me of one player, Yao Ming.
Oh yeah, Yao Ming was fantastic too. So, but
Many of the basketball fans don't know that player much, and that's pretty sad.
that's pretty sad. Whiskey, I am leaning towards Wisconsin. I don't think we got any more huge matchups this week. We got a top 20, but not too bad. I don't think we have any more top 10 matchups this week going into our next meeting. No, so we won't talk about any more of your top 10s. We do have one more thing to cover real quick here.
And it's a pretty big one.
Before we get out. Yeah, we saved us a good 5 or 6 minutes to talk about this one because this is
Potential future changing.
I think this is going to change college sports completely.
So let's bring in the perpetrator to the crime here.
Mm.
The dinosaur, as I like to call them.
The dinosaur, which they should go extinct. They've been
The NCAA.
The NCAA has been almost useless for a multiple years here. And what was it last year when who was the player for North Carolina that they wouldn't let become eligible game 1? Tez Walker.
They punished him.
He transferred. He had been on 2 or 3 different schools, but had only played for one other school.
And transferred to
And
North
transferred
Carolina
to North
to play for his sick grandmother.
to play close to his sick grandmother. They tried to get him eligible. They NCAA denied him to be eligible. They appealed it, and they waited up till 5 minutes before the game. No, and the NCAA upheld it that he could not be. And then magically 5 or 6 games later, they said, "Oh no, he's eligible." And you want to know what their excuse for not letting him in? Well, y'all should have filed the paperwork right.
He is trying to play for his sick grandmother. What does that
The
matter?
NCAA is supposed to be for the athlete,
And if the
helping
student-athlete...
the student athlete succeed in any way that they can.
So
And that's the
handcuffing
kind
the-
of garbage that the NCAA does.
So handcuffing the athlete is helping the athlete then.
I
How
think
does that make any sense?
I've been anti-NCAA for many years now. There's a lot of people just came around last year when that happened. I've been against it for 5 years now. I think that it's a dinosaur organization, and they should be gone. I think, and now coming into this, this actually came to head like in December last year, behind the curtains that we didn't know too much about. The NCAA was going to file allegations against Tennessee, breaking NIL rules. Tennessee tried to meet with them last December, and the NCAA denied the meeting. Wouldn't even meet with Tennessee. So all of this sort of came to head when the NCAA leaked these allegations to Pat Ford, who is with Sports Illustrated, and of course Pat Ford, being a Tennessee hater, dumped it right out as quick as he possibly could. So this was sort of done slick willy behind the books to get this out there, and but little
Until it caught wind of the Chancellor
you know,
of Tennessee.
little did they know that Tennessee had been working behind the curtains for quite some time now. You don't come up with a lawsuit in one day. They've been working on this sucker for quite some time. Tennessee is prepared, and NCAA now has kicked the hornet's nest.
Trying to stuff their foot inside of an Asian hornet, giant
They
hornet nest.
kicked the giant hornet's nest, and now there is a lawsuit been filed by the Attorney General of Virginia and the Attorney General of Tennessee against the NCAA. Basically, a restraining order. I can read you the first little bit of it, of the lawsuit, if you want to hear it here. The state of Tennessee and the Commonwealth of Virginia bring this antitrust case against the National Collegiate Athletic Association, the NCAA, has started enforcing rules that unfairly restrict how athletes can commercially use their name, image, and likeness, better known as NIL, as a critical juncture in the recruiting calendar. These anti-competitive restrictions violate the Sherman Act, harm the states and the welfare of the athletes, and should be declared unlawful and enjoined. That was paragraph 1.
And plus, Danny White, the
all of-
athletic director of Tennessee, also had a word of it.
Donde Plowman scorched earth with them. She put out a letter that called them everything that she could without cussing them. All of the legislators from Tennessee, the governor of Tennessee,
And Virginia.
they all came out supporting this. The AD Danny White today came out with Scorched Letter Part 2 and sent them a letter that just toasted them again. Spire Sports put out a explanation letter of what actually happened going on with the Nico, which is what this has come from, is where he was flew in a jet and some other, like, I mean, come on. This is a bunch of crap. And they kicked the hornet's nest, and honestly, with this lawsuit, and now this is not going to be a quick lawsuit. It's not going to be over in 2 weeks. It's not going to be over in 2 months. It's going to take a while before it goes to. But if the NCAA loses this, then they will lose all control over any NCAA player and their NIL, their image or likeness. They will lose.
And I think that could benefit not only the student athlete, which they failed to protect over the years.
NCAA's failed at the students athletes for years now. They fail them and they fail them. They pick on somebody that they want to. They let others go. They are incompetent.
Incompetent. That is a key word, my friend.
They are, and it is an incompetent organization that it works on power now. It is a power-hungry organization. And that's what they work on. They want power. They want control.
And there is actually a little shirt that the sports athletes put out there that called them the National Communist Athletic Association.
Yeah.
That wasn't me. That was just a shirt.
That's a shirt that we did saw, which is pretty fitting. And honestly, at this point, I think we are seeing the end of the NCAA. This is the beginning.
So we can finally put the dinosaur back into the museum.
I think the NCAA will be extinct as we know it within the next couple of years. Anybody that's watched any kind of sports and stuff and kept up with this stuff knows that all of this has been going back to where each conference is going to govern their own teams. That's where this was going. And honestly, they will probably watch their teams better and control the stuff better and have harsher punishments, which is great. I believe in rules. I believe in following rules. I believe in punishing people that don't follow the rules. But you can't retro charge somebody for something that happened almost 3 years ago because you say it's the wrong thing now, when you never had rules. And the NCAA doesn't want to let control. They don't want students making money. They still do not want it. They fought it. That's what this antitrust suit comes from. The NCAA doesn't want them to make money. They're fighting against the student athlete.
The very same thing that they want to protect and to guard.
I watch on 3 Sports a lot, and I love the guys over there. And they put it really aptly. This is not Tennessee versus the NCAA. This is college football versus the NCAA.
And this isn't, and eventually this isn't just going to happen to Tennessee. This might happen to your favorite team at any point in time in the future.
I think Florida is going to get is in the crosshairs and is looking to get hammered pretty big. And honestly,
for a player they don't even have.
How many pictures have popped up on most social media the past couple of days about all the other players and the cars they've got and the trips they've got and everything that they've got on these programs the past 3? You don't think they'll come for your team?
Oh boy, you bet they will.
So this is actually college football versus the NCAA. This is not just Tennessee.
Tennessee isn't the only team they've attacked.
No, they've hit Florida State and
Florida.
They hit both of them before they came
to us, and
after
this was Tennessee was the hornet's nest that they kicked.
They kicked the hornet's nest, and
Florida, the Gators and the Volunteers are going to team up to do something.
Now, no longer is Tennessee going to roll over and take. I remember they were called exemplary, how they worked with the NCAA last year whenever Pruitt tried to pay somebody with a hamburger bag. I mean, that was just pure stupidity on Pruitt's part. But and now all of a sudden they want to
force rules that weren't even there.
This is from AD Danny White today, which again I've liked him for a long time now, but this is his last comment towards the end. Student athletes, prospective student athletes, coaches, and administrators across the country deserve better, and I refuse to allow the NCAA to irrationally use Tennessee as an example for their own agenda. So yeah, it's on. Basically, it's on.
Tennessee and Virginia. First off, to the Cavaliers out there,
to the Virginia fans, the state of Virginia.
Welcome forth.
I think we need to meet up in Bristol and shake hands across the state line there whenever this is all over. And honestly, I don't think this is the last team to come in. I think.
You've heard Mississippi.
Last state. There's rumors of Mississippi jumping in. I'm sure Florida will at some point in time. And if your program
is getting affected,
if your state has a major program, it needs to be in on this because they will come after you just as well as they'll come after anybody else.
Georgia, Ohio State doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who it is. But we just wanted to jump in there and put our little 2 cents on this. I think it's 5 years past due that this has happened. I think the NCAA needs to go out of existence as it is, and let each conference govern their own team. Do you think the little NCAA group can govern 120 teams better than the SEC can govern its own?
Absolutely not.
Or the Big Ten,
absolutely
or the
not.
Big Ten can govern their own. The Big 12 can cover their own.
Guide their own teams.
Everybody can have similar rules and let each conference govern itself. It'll be better, stricter, more fair play than anything that we've got right now. But that's just my 2 cents. We hope you enjoyed episode 1. We love talking sports. We will be back next week for another episode of Sports This Week, talking about the highlights, the news, the coaching changes, so on and so forth. Thanks again for SevereTV.com for putting up with us. Thanks again for Autographs Plus for sponsoring us. And we hope to see you next week to talk more sports.
See you next week.